Hi, my name is Abdullah Hisham Abdul Karim, and today's lesson I'm going to be talking about two parts: classroom activities for students for advanced level and psychological factors affecting speaking. Now, when we first try to learn a foreign language, we try to learn words through dictionary using Google Translate and other forms to improve our language skills. And when we teach students foreign language, we use different activities to improve our communication skills. First on this list is discussion. Now, discussion is one of the popular activities held in classroom where it mainly relies on topics to discuss anything related to about it. And students have freedom to express themselves through their ideas, understanding, and obviously share knowledge and learn even more and more new words. The second is conversation. Just like with discussion, it mostly relies on selected topics of their own choice, whether with a teacher or students. And most conversation have some form of sounds, expression, and sometimes interruptions and paraphrasing, which can be useful to build sentences and use newer words for themselves, which can be beneficial in the future. Another activity would be interview, which you can already imagine what it is. But in a sense, for students, you can imagine that students ask each other questions and answers back to back, which is helpful to not only within but also outside the classroom. And of course, teachers will be responsible to give their students the necessary techniques and rubrics before starting on an interview. Now, the next one will be role playing. From the previous video, I explained what it is, and what it is essentially is acting in a certain situation that exists or does not exist, whether fictional or fact. So let's say, for example, someone is going to act as a doctor and then a nurse and a patient. They'll be starting about talking their medical prescription, their roles, their form of injury, so on and so forth. They'll be talking about this scenario, what role playing is talking about certain scenarios from beginning to the end of the conversation. So role playing can essentially be useful to build confidence and other kinds of situation to provide their needs. And last one on the list is stimulation, which is exactly the same as role playing, but stimulation is to stimulate the feeling of realism, hence the name stimulation, which you can bring items or any kind of items to make it feel more realistic in that situation. Now, with all of these activities, it can be helpful for students to make bonds and improve their oral communication skills. But as every human, we all come with flaws, and among those are due to psychological factors affecting our speaking skills. Those are anxiety, which is a common thing where we get nervous and be afraid of what we'll have to say next. Shyness due to discomfort or awkwardness when meeting unknown people. Lack of confidence is the name itself, not having much confidence or being strong enough to speak. Lack of motivation, not having enough interest to start conversation about certain things, which is also one of the main factor and the reason for lack of oral communication skills. Now, last but not least is speaking difficulties in foreign language learning, which is everything I mentioned before about anxiety, shyness, lack of confidence, and motivation. And as well as, in addition to the lack of practice due to teachers not giving enough learning or basics, as well as the usage of the mother tongue in a classroom full of natives. For example, when I was in Saudi Arabia in an international school for where most of the Indians reside in. Everyone would speak in their own Hindi and Malayalam mostly. And then in here, well, in Indonesia, in my classroom, others will also be using their own native tongue like Bahasa, or their local native language where I'm living in is Banjaris or Banjar. And that's is all for my explanation. Thank you very much for listening, and yeah, thank you all for listening.